Oof. Man, that is some harsh lighting. Wow. Let me see how do I fix that. Let me see. No, that doesn't work. Jeez, that thing's just horrible. I don't even know. Let me see. Oh, that's even better. No. Let's see what I can do here. All right, it's a little bit better. Woo! That's terrible. Man. All right, well, that's what I get. Harsh lighting for my my space. Oh man. All right, let's see. Put on my little chapeau now. All right, yeah, that's just terrible lighting. So what am I gonna do? That's the way it works sometimes. Some days I've got good lighting, some days I have bad lighting. Wow. Okay, so this is terrible lighting. I can't see anything. All right. Hi, welcome to Randsanity. As per usual, it is always crazy. Nothing is uncrazy in the world. So, hello from the other side of the island. Okay, what's going on? Look at you. So, you're settled in New York. Yay, look at that. As am I. I am on the East Coast. I took an impromptu trip last night. Booked a flight at 6 o'clock and got in a plane by 8 o'clock. And here I am on the East Coast. Gonna see what trouble I can get into, which of course is plenty. I might even go visit some friends that just moved here. You never know. But anyway, welcome to Randsanity episode 271, the 27th of February. So February winds down tomorrow. Tomorrow, the last day of February, and then we're into March. So, March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb, right? April showers bring May flowers. All that stuff's coming. So excited for that one. Settled on hour 39 of no sleep, but we made it in and the furniture's inside. Yay! Woo! Furniture's moved in. That's all that matters. So you can at least sleep on something besides the floor. Better than sleeping on the floor. So glad to see that. Oh man. So I get that. Floor mattress. Well, yes, of course, floor mattress. That's the way it is. I luckily don't have a floor mattress. I lucked out on that. No floor mattress. I do have a penguin buddy though that is hanging out. See, look, can you see the penguin over there in the background? It's dark, but it's a penguin. Yeah, build a bed. That's like build a bear warehouse. You got to build a bed. Well, that's outstanding. Let's see if this helps. Does that help any? It makes the background darker. I don't really need to do that. No, it's not a real penguin. I would love to have a real penguin. They make penguins noise. But no, that's not a real penguin. He just looks like a real penguin. See, he looks very real. Yes. Very much so. Lordy. All right. So, all sorts of exciting stuff. There's so much snow on the ground still in the east. I went out past a shopping mall today, and the snow was towering in piles. I mean, 10 feet is not. It's more like 15 or more. I was like, it's as tall as at least a house. I was like, holy crap, those are giant mounds of snow. But that's what happens when you get, 2 feet of snow. They have to push it somewhere. So they push it in giant ass piles with front end loaders and everything else. So, yeah, I'm sure you're enjoying the snow too, depending on where you are. If you're on the east, you're definitely dealing with snow. It was quite the snowy day. I'm glad I missed that part of it. I don't have to do any shoveling. I just had to not crash into piles on the side of the road. That was all. So it's a beautiful ass thing. All right, so let's see. I have some stuff. I didn't have a ton, but I've got some stuff. So some musicy things. I've got some songs that you should listen to. These are some tracks. uh, pretty much, like I said, it's the end of February. You got to find some new music, the stuff that you want. So, there's definitely some loud stuff. I listened to these all today because, again, I was in the car a lot driving around today. And God, I forget how bad East Coast traffic is. I complain when I get stuck in traffic in Ohio for a few minutes. And it's just, yeah, I kind of think of just shut the fuck up because it's nothing compared to traffic here. It is constant. It is overwhelming. And it's just, yeah, that's so much traffic all the time in the East. Lots. So you have that forward to look to, except mass transit. Go for that too. So some loud music to try and kick it off. Brutal is the word, brutal traffic. So here's some songs to check out. So first one is Blunt Force Blues by Lamb of God. Okay, Lamb of God is from Virginia. And they're back with a new album, heralding single Blunt Force Blues. The track is a scorcher for sure. I mean, I was like, whoa, it's no nonsense heavy metal assault on the psyche. It really is. It plays homage to the band's hometown of Richmond. In a press release, Randy Blythe reflected on Lamb of God's formative years of the new single. We learned how to play by watching and hanging out with other local dudes. That's what we aspired to do. Keep up with good local bands. They were just as much of an influence as any of the bigger bands from different cities at the time. Blunt Force Blues is the most recent song from Lamb of God's forthcoming new album, Into Oblivion, which is out on March 13th via Epic Records. The band is also heading out on a massive North American tour this spring. And I looked at some of the dates for that one. So they'll be headed out, and we can definitely find some Lamb of God if you were so interested to go see them. They're kicking off in Maryland on St. Patrick's Day of all days, March the 17th. They're hitting across most of the major capitals on the East Coast. They said basically it's going to be their loudest, proudest, floor-shaking-ist, earthquaking-ist, ear-splitting-ist, mosh-pitting-ist, undiluted, undisputed, heaviest tour of the whole damn year, says Mark from the band. And he declares it's the largest collection of riffs ever assembled under one roof. So don't miss this shit, he said. Okay, so I guess not. But yeah, they'll be kicking it off on St. Patrick's Day in Maryland at the Harbor, National Harbor, Maryland. And then they're off to Canada for a few shows, but then they're going to be in Detroit, Minneapolis, Chicago, Colorado, Salt Lake, Oregon, Washington, then back in California, Arizona, New Mexico, Albuquerque, Irvington, Texas, Georgia, Raleigh, North Carolina. Then they're going to be through PA, VA, New York, Connecticut, and then they'll end in Boston on April the 26th. So, they're not going to be in Ohio, but close enough that if I really want to go find them, I can catch them. But, the song's pretty radical. So, it's pretty loud. So I would say check it out for sure. If you're a Lamb of God fan, they got more stuff. Next on the list, now these guys are also really good. I've heard them before, listened to them. It's Small Scholars by Kneecap. Okay. Kneecap is only capable of bangers. They really are. They don't really have mellow music ever. This is an Irish trio. Smugglers and Scholars is a deep bass-driven tune. It hits all the group's familiar dynamics. It's controversial. It's smooth with a flow and high energy. It's funny. They're from Ireland. So last night when I'm in the airport, because I can't go anywhere, it still holds true, which is funny. I really can't go anywhere and not to run into someone I don't know. So in the airport, on the plane, going to New York, sitting on the plane is a friend of mine who's flying to Dublin, Ireland for the weekend. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm flying the East Coast. He's like, I'm flying to Newark and then I'm going to Dublin, Ireland. I was like, okay, small world. So yeah, so the streak continues. I cannot literally go anywhere without running to somebody, which is funny, which is great. But that was mostly exciting for that one at that moment. But anyway, Smugglers and Scholars, there's almost a tension about this, though, that kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat. It'll give you goosebumps if you listen close enough. Kneecap's new album, Fenian, is out April 24th on Heavenly Recordings. So you can get the new Kneecap again and again. They don't have mellow music. So if you want mellow, don't find it with Kneecap. It's not there. Next, we have No Place of Warmth by Frozen Soul, featuring Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance, of all things. Now this one was different. The gates of hell swung wide open for this one. It's an unchained frozen soul marches out of the strength of an unholy legion and region. No Place of Warmth, the title track of their forthcoming third album. That was the description of it. So, it's merciless onslaught from this Texas distilled barrel-aged death metal. Its joined Frozen Soul horde is none other than My Chemical Romance frontman Gerard Way. It's a longtime heavy metal fan, he said. Way lends his shrieking vocals to the track, which perfectly complements frontman Chad Green's bellowing growls. And there's definitely bellowing growls. I was like, okay, this is some heavy shit. It was definitely not for the faint of heart and not for the light. I was like, wow. Next on the list is Lonely Life by Co-Defendants. I like these guys. They're a good band. They're a genre-defying trio, Co-Defendants. They're nearing the new release of the new album. And this week they gave us another single from the project's entity, Lonely Life. This punk hop, because it's kind of a punk band, turns swing back and forth from subdued to chaotic, musically mimicking a roller coaster ride. Notably, the music video is a brilliantly artistic clip starring Sublime's Jacob Nolan in a performance their casting director should be taking note of. The Co-Defendants' new album, Lifers, is out on April 3rd through Crime Wave Regime Music Group. So again, definitely worth checking out. Lastly, we've got Still Suffer by Terror. Now, I didn't really know these guys at all. I was not really aware of them. So I just, was like, all right. So these guys are an LA hardcore legend, apparently. But they have a brand new label, Flat Stop Records. It's a brand new album on the way, Still Suffer. And this week they announced the next project with its little title track. This is a traditional riff-heavy hardcore that feels comfortable and dangerous. Terror is one of the few bands still making this kind of music without fail. Still Surfer drops on April 24th. So again, there's someone definitely to check out. But I was not familiar with them, but they definitely are hard as well. So all the bands listed tonight, definitely some hard stuff. So Still Suffer by Terror, worth checking out. Lonely Life by Co-Defendants. You got No Place of Warmth by Frozen Soul featuring Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance. And you have, of course, Smugglers and Scholars by Kneecap. And lastly, Blunt Force Blues by Lamb of God. So, yeah, there's your sort of metal weekend picks to go check out and give a listen to. Musically wise, stuff that happened this week. Hey, look, this first one sounds like something from Ratatouille, where anyone can be a chef. 21-year-old former hairdresser and cloakroom attendant at the Cavern Club, Celia Black, was number one on the UK singles chart with Anyone Who Had a Heart. It was Black's first UK number one, and also this week's UK top 10 for the first ever feature of a UK act only from 1964. So yeah, so hairdresser and cloakroom attendant listen to enough music, sort of a Quentin Tarantino story, I guess. You watch enough movies, you think you know how to make them, and apparently she did. So there you go. You got to love that one. Also in 1964, on this day, the Rolling Stones made their second appearance on the BBC TV show Top of the Pops, performing their latest single, Not Fade Away, which is a great song. I listened to that earlier. I was like, oh yeah, I love that Fade Away. That's a fun song by the Stones. That's something where they're a little in the lighthearted stuff. You got to enjoy that one. No, this story, I was like, oh man, come on. So in 1968, 25-year-old Frankie Lyman, the lead singer of the Teenagers, died of a heroin overdose in his grandmother's New York home. Grandma. Lyman was on leave from the Georgia's Army post he was stationed at the time. He was scheduled to record the Roulette Records the next day. So apparently he had to have a little bit of fun. And what do you want from a 25-year-old, right? Their brains aren't fully developed. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. His first national chart was from 1956, and it was just 13 years old, and he came with a song with Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Well, apparently he fell in love with heroin, and that was the downfall of him, unfortunately. You know, you got to, unfortunately, not that. 1971, Janis Joplin, 5 months after her death, started a 9-week run at the #1 slot for her second and final solo album with Pearl. Again, of course, it's her final album. She's dead. So it's posthumously already. She sang all tracks except Buried Alive and the Blues, which remained a full tilt boogie instrumental because she died before adding her vocals. So, I mean, right. You can't exactly do that. There you go. That's the way it works. Lots of instrumentals, no vocals, because she isn't around to add the vocals. So that's kind of interesting. In 1972, Led Zeppelin appeared at the Sydney Showgrounds in Sydney, Australia for 25,000 fans, where they had just played in New Zealand for 25,000 fans. Attending the show, Jimmy Page appeared clean-shaven after having shaved off some beard he had grown since the summer of 1970. So he was definitely in his hippie phase. I tried to find a picture of him with the beard for his 70. I did not find it very readily. I found clean-shaven, but did not find bearded. I want to find the bearded Jimmy Page. Imagine that was a kind of a scruffy Beatles-esque beard after 2 years. And again, tell me that rock stars don't get special privileges, and I'll tell you another story, because 1977, Keith Richards once again was arrested in Toronto's Harbour Castle Hotel after an ounce of heroin was found following a raid of his hotel room by 15 Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Again, don't let them in your room, and how do they know that you have an ounce of heroin? Unless clearly someone ratted you out because you have an ounce of heroin. Richards, who was charged with possession and intent to traffic, faced 7 years to life in prison. Bail was set at $25,000. His sentence was suspended, and he was released. So, is he back in Canada? Does he get to play Canada? I mean, I believe if you get a DUI, you can't go to Canada. And he has an ounce of heroin and gets to go back? Doesn't go to jail? Just saying, you know, maybe there's special privilege just a teeny bit for rock stars, but that's okay. Just saying, you know. In 1981, the WHO, the WHO, not World Health Organization, released You Better You Bet, their first single since the death of their drummer Keith Moon in 1978. Kenny Jones, formerly of The Faces, had replaced Keith Moon. The single peaked at number 9 in the UK and number 18 in the US upon the launch of MTV on August 1st of 1981, which no longer exists as of this year. It was the 4th video ever played. 4th video ever played on MTV, and MTV, no more. No more. 1988, George Michael, not jailed this time, not arrested for something stupid, scored his 6th #1 single with Father Figure, a number 11 hit in the UK. the first time Michaels had failed to reach the top 10 in his home country ever. Oh, poor Michael. Didn't like that. In 1991, finally, free James Brown. James Brown was paroled after spending 2 years of a 6-year prison sentence imposed for resisting arrest after a car chase across 2 states for weapons, possession of drugs, under the influence of drugs, and of course, high-speed chase and resisting arrest. Free James Brown. Well, apparently he got freed, but he did spend a couple of years in the clink. Yikes. Whitney Houston, after 14 weeks of the number 1 on the U.S. singles chart, I Will Always Love You, it gave her her longest U.S. chart topper, taking over from Boys to Men hit End of the Road, and became the second biggest selling single in the year, recorded by Houston for the soundtrack of her film debut, The Bodyguard. The song quickly became one of the world's best-selling singles of all time for The Bodyguard. I've never seen the movie. That's one of those. The thing is that, like Tom Cruise, I can sometimes, it's one of those actors that I can kind of. Sometimes I watch the movie, sometimes I can't. Kevin Costner, same way. Kevin Costner, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, sure, I'll watch it. I'm like, no. So yes, Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard. Never saw it. Have no desire to probably ever watch that movie. So there you go. That's the way that works sometimes. Just not a huge fan. Oh, Brittany. I saw Brittany. There was a Instagram post the other day, and I'm like, or yesterday, maybe today. I don't know. I was like, oh, Brittany. So on drugs, having a manic episode, both. I was like, oh, Brittany. 1999, Britney Spears started a 2-week run at number 1 on the UK chart with Baby One More Time. Yes, Baby One More Time. You need to seek assistance, my friend. Oh, it became the biggest UK single of the year. It also hit number 1 in the US. It was originally written for TLC, but the song was submitted after a competition of their 3rd record, Fan Mail. So Britney got it. But, oh, poor Britney. What are you going to do, right? In 2001, Carlos Santana returned to Altin del Navarro, the Mexican town where he grew up for the first time in 46 years. A statue in honor of Carlos and his father, mariachi player Jose Santana, was unveiled, and Santana was presented with the keys to the city and named the favorite son of Adelan. Hey, everyone has to be a favorite son of something, right? Isn't that the way it works? So thank goodness he got to be the favorite son there. Now, this one, okay. I need to speak to a manager, please. In 2004, a worker in a supermarket in Aspen, Colorado, alerted the police after seeing a man shopping with a face covering by a mask. 2004, so, when police arrived on the scene, they identified the man as Michael Jackson, who was in town on holiday with his children. So, yeah, I see a man in a mask. I'm calling the police. Aspen, come on. Profiling someone much? Maybe just a little bit. Speaking of jail, Bobby Brown was sentenced to 30 days in jail in 2007 over $20,000 in unpaid child support. An arrest warrant was issued in October of 2006 after he failed to show up at a hearing on overdue child support for Kim Ward, the mother of 2 of his children. Oh, Bobby Brown. Man, always seems to have some legal troubles, but that's the way that works. In 2010, U2 ranked in more money than any music act in the U.S., making $109 million. Appalling sum compared to what we're getting these days. From touring, record sales, and other royalties, almost twice as much as the second best, Bruce Springsteen, who only took home a smattering $58 million, followed by Madonna at $47 million, AC/DC at $44 million, Coldplay were the most successful British group at number 8, raking in 27 million. I mean, a portly sum, 27 million. Let's see what AC/DC does now. We'll have to see what compare. If AC/DC did 44 million in 2010, they've got a world tour this year. They'll be coming to Columbus on July the 15th. Let's see what kind of numbers they're going to do for that. I can imagine it's going to be a little bit higher than a $44 million payday doing the U.S. run. That's all I would just think. Speaking of The Who and drummers, the drummer who took over for Keith Moon, David Senna, died one day after his 89th birthday in 2019. He was the first drummer for The Who before Keith Moon. No recordings of Sandin playing with the band were ever released. So he played with The Who, but no one knows that because they've never heard it. So before Keith Moon. And then we have Ariana Grande in 2019 was number 1 on the UK charts with her 5th studio album, Thank You Next. The album was pieced together by 2 singles, the title track and 7 Rings, both of which debuted atop the Billboard Hot 100. Who? Hi, Jeremy Hughes. Good to see you, Jeremy Hughes. Didn't even know you were there. You were lurking in the background. Outstanding. I was going to see a smiling face. Oh, well, I don't see your face, but I know you're there because it says so. Right back at you, my friend. Right back at you. So there you go. That's there's your sort of newsy stuff. I skipped some stuff that was boring. I didn't need to do that. You know, nobody cares. You're like, don't really need that. Rather have the more modern and recent information, stuff that's pertinent to stuff that goes on now. You know, what kind of things are happening? What's the tours? You know, I read something that was funny. So if you know Tenga that the sort of knockoff for Amazon. There was an article that I was reading today that was basically saying that if you ever use a sex toy from Tenga, your information may have been stolen by a hacker. So if you're buying your sex toys online, your information may be hacked. An employee email account was compromised, and it included order details, possible order details, but they definitely said there was a huge security incident. So, you know, no one's low-key judging, but just so you know, your information may be out there. They know what you bought. So that happens. Those things happen, you know. Born on this day? Well, let's see. Johnny Cash was born yesterday. I, for some reason, missed the Johnny Cash birth yesterday. But Lewis Clark, not Lewis and Clark, but Lewis Clark of the band ELO was born on this day, 79 years old. Neil Schon of Journey, 71 years old. Adrian Smith of Iron Maiden, 69 years old, and touring like a mother, out there making it happen. Johnny Van Zant of Leonard Skinner, 66. Paul Humphreys of OMD, 57. No, he's 66 too. Brad Vander Ark of the Verve Pipe, he's 57. Josh Groban, 45. I listened to a Josh Groban song today just because I didn't really know Josh Groban. I was like, oh, now I know why I don't listen to Josh Groban. Just, again, not my thing. I was just like, not my thing, man. Just not there. Elizabeth Taylor, she would have been 92 today. She died in 2011. Howard Hessman, WKRP in Cincinnati. Johnny Fever, he would have been 86 today. He died in 22. Dan Antonucci of Ed, and Eddie, the creator of Ed, and Eddie, is 69. And Adam Baldwin from Full Metal Jacket, one of the Baldwin clan, is 64 today. People that died today, we know that J.T. Walsh. J.T. Walsh was one of those character actors. You remember him? He was in A Few Good Men. He was a bad guy in A Few Good Men. He was in Good Morning Vietnam. He was that shitbag colonel that no one liked. He died at 54 in 98. Mr. Rogers died on this day in 03 at the age of 74. Mr. Rogers. And he's followed by good company. Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock, died on this day in 2015 at the age of 83. And then I didn't realize that Richard Lewis died. Richard Lewis from, Curb Your Enthusiasm fame, died at the age of 76 2 years ago. Richard Lewis was an Ohio State University graduate. And there was I still have it cut out somewhere. There's a little article, it was a blurb when they talked about alumni. It was like Richard Lewis, actor, comedian, drunk. I was like, what? Holy shit, did you actually publish that? It was in the Alumni Gazette thing. And sure as shit, that's what it said. Actor, comedian, drunk. I was like, holy shit. I was like, somebody got in trouble for that. But I mean, he was, famously known for being a drinker, but yeah, that's what they put in his bio in the Ohio State University alumni directory. Oops. So yes, Richard Lewis died along with Leonard Nimoy and Mr. Rogers on this day. Oh man, good company to be going in, but that's why Richard Lewis, he used to respond to me on social media. I would text him all the time and he would always respond to stuff about, Ohio State and Columbus and things. So who knew? I guess that's why he hasn't gotten back to me. I thought maybe he just got tired of me bugging him. Oops. Such is life. That's the way that goes, right? I didn't know. Clearly, I did not pay enough attention to Mr. Richard Lewis's life. Oh, shit. What are you going to do, right? All right. So here on the East Coast, I'm going to see what kind of adventures I can get into. Tomorrow being Saturday, I'm going to see about, maybe do a little New York City adventure today or tomorrow. I have some friends I might visit who are now East Coast dwellers. I'll be their first official visitor. We'll see if we can make that happen. I'm sure that they would enjoy that thoroughly. I'll have to bring a housewarming gift or something. I don't know. Besides that, I'm going to see what kind of shows and shenanigans I'm going to get into. I'm going to go visit some friends at Atlantic Records and a couple other record labels here in the city. And who knows? Who knows? We'll see what we can. What turns up when we turn over a rock or two. You never know. It's getting that time of year. I'm getting restless. I need to find an adventure. So let's see what kind of adventures we can find. Anyway, that's about it. Any questions, comments, concerns, please don't forget. Like, follow, subscribe, watch, share, all that stuff. Get them on the show. I'm going to potentially... Oh, I do have an interview set up with the ex-manager of the Beach Boys. How's that one for you? The manager of the Beach Boys I got in touch with, and we're doing an interview with the manager of the Beach Boys back in the day. So got to get my questions together so that I can have some good questions for this gentleman so that we can share it. So anyway, besides that, thanks for being here. Appreciate you as always. Another day in the rants. Me and the penguin. Just hanging out. So I'll do this again tomorrow. I don't know. I'll probably change my background. Maybe get some better lighting. I'll see what I can do. Like I said, the lighting's kind of crappy. I can see now. Jesus. All right. Until then, appreciate you, and I look forward to connecting soon. I'm going to go do this now on TikTok, the exact same thing, because I can't stream two at the same time because I don't have all my setup. So if you're interested in a repeat, just come over to TikTok and I'll do this all again, but different. If not, I'll see you again tomorrow. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your Friday and have an outstanding Saturday, last day of February, and then we're on to March. I'd say fade to black, so I can do it this way. Fading to black. Slowly fading to black. I've faded. Thank you.